are meant to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird.
Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre.
Stories of the supernatural, the supernormal, dramatized in fantasy, the mystery, the unknown. We tell you this frankly, so if you wish to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginary plays, we urge you calmly, sincerely, to turn off your radio now.
Welcome back to The Horror. We're going to hear from The Black Mass this week, a series that aired from 1963 to 1967 in California. It was often on radio during those years. It adapted classic horror stories, including the one we'll hear today. Written by Lord Dunsany, here's their adaptation of The Witch of the Willows. This one aired January 29th, 1964.
Our second feature for this evening brings us to more serious business. We hope that the purists in our audience will not be too upset at certain liberties we have taken in our adaptation. Here is Bernard Mays as Mr. Jorkins, and Pat Franklin as his female companion, in Lord Dunsany's story, The Witch of the Willows.
I wandered about the country, always alone, not caring really where I went. One day I came to the Willow Wood, a haunted sort of place, marsh floating all through it, ideal for a lonely and aimless man. I was tired of ordinary things and ordinary people, what they said and did, the everyday things, everything lacking in wonder, surprise, magic, mystery. And there was a mystery in the woods. The sun had begun to set, and the mystery was settling among the willows. Oddly enough, as I wandered deeper and deeper among the trees, the mystery didn't recede. Not a spell seemed lifted, but that ominous and immense threat of magic became overpowering. Suddenly, an old woman in a black cloak and a high black hat, carrying a black stick, she came towards me, and that mystery, that unaccountable thing that has been called magic, that was haunting the willows, moved with her as she came. She approached quickly, paying no attention to me until we were almost facing. Then a quick glance of her eyes, all magic and wonder in her ugliness, and I fumbled for something to say. Is there no way out of these marshes?
No, there is no way out.
I stood a while and gazed, fascinated by the mystery of her. She leaned her hands upon the stick and gazed at me, grey ringlets hanging down from under her hat. What has come over these marshes?
Sunset and witchcraft.
What does the witchcraft portend?
Who knows that? Not even the witches know that.
And why do they make witchcrafts? Enchanting a place like this till one can hardly tell if one is still on earth.
If there's a warning put on a place, it's for folks to heed the warning, not to go bothering those that have other things to do with the way and the why and the wherefore. A warning's a warning, and that's all there is to it.
Well, the sun has set, and I think I'll take that warning.
Do as you will.
If I come back, should I ever see you here?
You might come for weeks and never find me. And then one day I'd be here.
Then I'll come again. I'll come again. I stayed at a little inn called Wold's End, a mile or so from the marshes, That evening I returned barely in time for dinner.
Oh, but I do
I couldn't put the mood of my strange adventure out of mind. And in contrast, the company, the whole interior of Wold's End was a dreary replica of life in general. Wholesome food, kindly people, the expected, the safe.
You haven't forgotten our cribbage this evening, Mr. Jorkin?
No, Colonel Havison, but I'm a little tired, I'm afraid.
Oh, Mrs. Norris says you have been exploring the Willow Wood this evening.
Yes.
Take care of the marshes there. Dangerous, you know, dangerous, but a good place for grouse. In season, of course.
Later I stood at my window and looked down toward the woods. The moon lit the hillside, and below it I could see the trees. Black, darker than the night, the mystery still there. But when I walked down next morning, it was gone. It was gone when I went back at sunset. Day after day I went, and still she did not come. I haunted the place till all the water hens knew me and the rooks. Then, one afternoon, 2 weeks later, no sooner had I entered the solitude of the Willows than the transformation began. The shadows between the trees became heavy with portents or omens. The stillness full of whispers. The mystery gathered about me. And in the midst of it, she walked with her black stick, the mystery coming with her. She nodded as she approached, with what may have been a smile at the end of her lips. Willow Witch, as you see, I have come back. You told me there was no way out of the marshes.
Nor is there. You come back and back to them.
That's true. They have a hold upon me already, and it's not the marshes or the willows. When you are not here, they are nothing more than the time of day can make of any place. It's for the magic in you that I return.
The magic in me, and your weariness of the things of every day, pushed and pulled, back and back.
Where do you live?
Out of sight, out of hearing of the folks of every day.
Where?
Merling's Wood. Merling's Wood, by this path.
Wait, can I come with you?
If you can follow.
I can if you wait. The light is too dim to see the path.
You have to keep up.
But you disappear. When I try to look, you're gone. Wait.
Plunge, Mr. Jorkins. Plunge, or you'll never make it.
Wait. 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 But she was gone.
But that wasn't the first time we had trouble with the natives in that area. No. Sometime earlier that year. Here, I wanted you to try some of this port. Yes, the natives, during the cholera epidemic.
It was unendurable.
During my... what?
I said it was it curable?
Oh well, with the right treatment. Yes, it was during the cholera epidemic. It was some time.
Then I did something absurd, but I couldn't help it. The decanter of port, Colonel Havison's prize port, was sitting on the end table beside me. I'd been fingering the cut glass neck. The fireplace, several yards across the room, the large stone fireplace. Suddenly, quite unaccountably, I picked up the decanter and flung it against the stone.
Oh, I say, Jorkins. Jorkins.
I plunged out of the house, down the road to the woods, through the marshes. The mystery was everywhere, thicker than the trees, almost suffocating. But I headed as if guided through the woods. wood remembered from one's earliest years. This strange, almost terrible feeling seemed to come from straight ahead. It was the path itself, straight ahead, until it seemed to veer very slightly to the left, and from this I gathered that I should find the home of the witch. And sure enough, there it was, a cottage in the midst of strangeness and mystery. The cottage was small and roofed with a dark thatch, windows made of round panes, the size and thickness of the ends of bottles. I heard my knock on the door before, or so it seemed. I quite reached it, and instantly it opened, and there she stood, in her cloak. Magic seemed to pour out around her.
Well?
I have come.
Yes. And do you come in? Do you enter a witch's cottage?
Yes.
Well, the door is open, Mr. Dawkins.
I entered. And a swell of dark, terrible power seemed to leap at me. Then shortly the magic subsided. It withdrew to the corners and walls of the little room. A fireplace emerged, a glowing, blood-red flame within it. A large black cat lying before it, and the witch bent over, sweeping something. The decanter, Colonel Haversham's decanter.
There's been an accident, but maybe it will be mended by and by.
The room was difficult to see clearly. A few things stood out, a stove, a table, several chairs, all strangely carved and inset.
Will you have some tea?
Yes.
Cowslip, briar rose, or daffodil?
Cowslip. It was a strange brewing. She boiled water in a great kettle over the fire, then threw handfuls of withered dry cowslip blooms into her teapot, and added a sprinkling of herbs. She filled with it 2 earthenware cups, glazed green on the outside, and instead of milk, she poured honey. All the while her cat watched us from the fireplace. We sat watching the fire, drinking a strange tea. As the shapes of the coals changed, she peered more and more intently. It seemed as though events were passing before us through the deeps of the fire.
Trouble coming to the world.
What trouble?
All going the wrong way. Losing hold.
Where do we want to go? Where should we?
That's the affair of witches.
Do you know?
He knows. The old cat. The dark one. He doesn't run to town. He doesn't plan or worry. He knows what is coming, dark one. Winter, spring, nothing can hasten it. Nothing stop it,
Do you care about the world?
Witches, we are abandoned and sought. Abandoned and sought. Withdraw and whisper. Withdraw and whisper.
What do you whisper? What do you say?
Oh, we provide.
What?
What you've come for.
What?
Not to know about the world.
Is that what you provide?
That's what you seek, Mr. Jorkins. You do not find the things of every day in my cottage, yet you come back and back.
Mystery and magic.
The ends of your world, Mr. Jorkins. Beyond.
Will I find it here? Will you help me?
Help you?
Show me. Will you?
Are you afraid, Mr. Jorkins?
Is it dangerous?
Surrounding the house, deadly power. It could crush you to the size of a pebble. Look, Mr. Jorkins. A handful of pebbles. You.
Why is it dangerous?
Why and wherefore? How and where to? Stakes and witches' gallows.
Is there a test? A price?
A wall, a blade, a fire, the things of every day, Mr. Jorkins. I'm not here to help you.
What danger, then? What am I to do?
Look.
Where?
Into the fire.
Fire? It isn't a fire.
Listen.
Oh, it isn't a wind.
Pet, my dark one. Pet, my dark one.
No,
Mr.
no!
Jorkins. See me, Mr. Jorkins. Could you ever love an old woman like me? Could you ever love an old woman like me, Mr. Jorkins?
That is the test.
Could you ever love an old woman like me?
An enchanted witch. I can break the spell by saying yes. Then all will be well. You'll emerge far lovelier than any creature.
Or a spider, or a ghost, or a death twice as ugly. The look in your eyes, Mr. Jorkins. Seeking magic and mystery on your own terms. Tests and prices, sleight of hand. Do you think no claim is to be made upon you? There, look. There's the abyss. There the flame, here the intense, the ugly.
No.
Could you ever love an old woman like me?
No, stay away from me! You're hideous! Hideous! Then, at the very words, there came a look in her eyes like flaming stars in the night. The cat appeared to increase in size to an enormous horror. The room became darker. There was nothing I could say to explain my refusal, except that all the magic and mystery that had first intrigued me was now horrifying and deadly. It was a wave that seemed to threaten all, a wave that began to fade away without breaking. I had rushed out of the cottage, but had not gone many yards from the angry witch when her house and the whole forest became, section by section, disenchanted. When I last saw her, she was standing there in her open door looking after me. There's something of mystery still surrounding her. I couldn't distinguish whether her look was of rage or of sorrow. And as she and her cottage passed out of sight, I saw the last of magic that I shall ever see. Soon again I was back at Wall's End. Yes, the last of it. I searched again and again, but I never found the cottage. The witch never came back again to the Willow Wood. I finger Colonel Haberson's decanter of fine port. Not the least scar on it. For years after that, whenever twilight or sunset gave a queer look to a field or a distant hill, whenever anything strange seemed haunting birches or willows, I would set out at once, however far the walk, and in any weather or hour, to see if the magic that I have known had ever come back. No, it never came back. it never came back.
That was Bernard Mays as Mr. Jorkins, and Pat Franklin as the witch, in our version of Lord Dunsany's story, The Witch of the Willows. And now, we must break up our chain of empathy for this evening. We shall meet again around this hour, real soon, with another discomforting tale. Join us at that time. Good night.
That's the horror for today, but you can find more from the Black Mass, more horror, more old-time radio of all varieties at relicradio.com. Our Shoutcast stream is up and running there as well, with even more old-time radio. And if you'd like to help support it all, give that donate button a click or visit donate.relicradio.com. It's how this is all made possible. I can't do it without your help. If you'd like to help out, I've got some downloadable sets for certain donation amounts, though any amount is always appreciated and needed. Thanks to those who have. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back next Saturday with another episode of The Horror.
Strange Tales.
RelicRadio.com presents tales of the strange and bizarre, the weird and the wicked. Stories not necessarily of the supernatural, but of the unnatural. Join us now for Strange Tales, featuring radio drama at its most mysterious and unusual. Back to Strange Tales. Thanks for joining me this week. We'll hear from Suspense this time, a long-running CBS series that aired from 1942 to 1962, produced almost 1,000 episodes. Our story today features Agnes Moorehead. It's titled The Evil Adelaide Winters. This one aired September 10th, 1951.
You are about to hear a story based on actual events. To protect the innocent, names and places have been changed.
Autolite and its 96,000 dealers bring you Miss Agnes Moorehead in a story taken from life. Tonight's presentation of Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite presents The Evil of Adelaide Winters, a story about the awful results of a woman's greed, starring Miss Agnes Moorehead.
Well, there's Stanley Smart, the brainy boss of our bustling baseball club. What's the matter, Stan? Battery trouble?
Yeah, Hollow, I forgot to fill my battery with water, and it's dead as a cellar dweller's pennant chances.
Oh, why not farm it out in favor of an Autolite Stay Full battery? The battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
Lots on the ball, eh, Hollow?
It sure has, Stan, because the famous Autolite Stay Full has over 3 times the liquid reserve of batteries without Stay Full features. And that advantage alone helps overcome one of the greatest causes of battery failure.
Sounds like just what I need, Hollow.
Why, Stan, the Autolite Stay Full is tops in dependable starting power and gives longer life, as proved by tests conducted according to accepted life cycle standards.
Oh, lead me to it, Hollow.
Just call Western Union by number and ask for Operator 25. She'll quickly and without obligation tell you the name and address of your nearest Autolite battery dealer, who handles the famous Autolite Stay Full, the battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, with The Evil of Adelaide Winters and the performance of Miss Agnes Moorehead, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
I am grateful for any chance to tell my story, to explain my position in the entire horrible affair. Since the doctors finally removed the bullet from the base of my skull, I'm able to speak. For over 6 years, my body has been paralyzed, and I have had to remain silent, but now I can speak. You weigh it. You weigh all the facts about whether I did Edward Porter more harm than good. The war years had made the work of astral communicators, mediums. They'd made our work important and necessary. We believe it's as necessary as life itself to believe in life after death, especially during a war when people's loved ones are dying. It's important. Mediums bring courage to despair. Did you get all the newspapers?
Yeah, Adelaide, I got them all.
Read me the list.
Now, for the week of July 8th, the War Department announces the following members of the Army listed as dead. PFC Thomas...
Just those missing in action, Robert, please.
Oh, Adelaide, I still don't like it.
It doesn't make much difference if you like it.
Now, look, I taught you everything about this medium racket.
Oh, yes, you taught about tin horns blowing and faces painted with phosphorescent coloring. You taught me a series of Halloween tricks, carnival mumbo-jumbo. I made it pay, Robert. I made it a science.
You took them from me.
I didn't need them. I have insight. You don't. I know about people's superstition and desperation. I can read people's weaknesses. Did you teach me those things? You don't know anything. Not even your own weakness. You're a terrible weakness.
Oh, Adelaide, don't.
You need me, Robert. I don't need you. I did once, but not now, not anymore. Go ahead. Go ahead, walk out. Walk out the front door.
Please don't talk like that. Adelaide, you know I'd never leave you.
Of course I do.
But, look, haven't we made enough? All the people we've taken so far...
Helped, Robert. That's why you've never been a successful medium. We haven't taken or used anyone. We've helped them.
Rich old dowagers who are on their last legs anyway. People with nothing but time and dough to waste.
People who've lost their loved ones, the bereaved and despairing. We give them hope. The widows and weeping mothers. We bring them contact with their loved ones who've died on some distant battlefield.
I don't know. I wish I understood you. I wish I knew what you want.
I want money and happiness, and they're the same.
But we've got money.
Not enough. Read me the list of those missing in action, Robert, and their addresses and their phone numbers, please.
PFC Timothy Aldington, 927 North King Avenue, Cutler 9.
It's not a good neighborhood.
Oh, Adelaide, would it be simpler to just contact the relatives of the men who were killed? Wouldn't it be easier to work them?
No, I told you, no. With a man missing in action, who's to say my information about how or if he died is right or wrong? Who? Not even the War Department, not even the men who are supposed to know. Continue, Robert.
Right. Staff Sergeant Abe Feynman, 826 East 32nd Street.
It's a very poor district. People are poor.
I see. Corporal John Porter, 1438 Williamsburg Road, Hammer,
That
47.
one. Call that one, Robert. Use that phone. I'll listen in on this one.
All right.
Hello?
Is this Mr. Porter?
Yes?
Corporal John Porter's...
Father. I'm his father. What is it?
This is the War Department.
You found him. I'd almost given up hope, but you found my son alive.
Your son is dead, Mr. Porter.
Well, all right, you can say what you like. But mostly, and I've pieced the reports together, mostly missing in action means the worst kind of death in a war. Oh, people, officials argue with me. They say that missing in action only means missing. Yes, but for how long? Edward Porter, that was his name, Edward. The father, he didn't know. And even though he was skeptical when I telephoned him, he came to my office, skeptically, but in desperation. Don't you see? He came to my office with the hope he'd find his dead son.
I usually never come to these things.
You don't believe in them, Mr. Porter.
I don't know. I knew once. I don't know now.
Well, it's difficult to know anything for certain in moments like this.
I've been a realist all my life.
Yes, well, so have I.
I'm a successful businessman. I've always dealt with facts. Facts and figures.
Yeah, this is real, Mr. Porter.
Maybe. I don't know.
What you really mean is you hope so. You hope it's true. You hope it's real.
Yes. Yes, that's it. I hope it's real.
That it's not a racket. Rackets are only out for money. Well, I will want money, Mr. Porter. I must live too, but I only want your money if I've helped you. Do you understand? Only if I've made the life of the astral world, of the life beyond this one, only if I've made it bring happiness to you.
You're a good woman, Mrs. Winters. A good woman.
We shall start, Mr. Porter, with the lights on, with all things visible to you. We shall start. What could Edward Porter turn to? His friends? They all had their own problems, the same kind or different, but problems. Could he turn to his work? Didn't mean anything anymore. Or his money? He had only gathered it for his son, his only child, and that child was dead. Only I could help. And we tried for 7 days to make contact with his son. 7 days devoted exclusively to Edward Porter. I hear the faint sounds of guns firing. Yes, it's very distant. Very distant. I can't quite... Yes, a face. I cannot see the face. A voice. Yes, there's a voice.
It was terrible the way I died. Who is it? Is it John? John, is it you?
A voice. You speak. We're friends.
I was afraid of dying, but now it is beautiful. Dying is hard, but death is beautiful. Please, who? John. I am John. It is John, Father. Oh, thank heaven. Mother, I must leave. Do not lose me. No, John, stay. Please, stay. Do not lose me. Do not lose me. John. Dear son, my son. Mrs. Winters.
We've reached him, Mr. Porter. We've reached your son.
Thank you, Mrs. Winters. Thank you.
Some say I should have known. Some say I made him ill, that the shock, that it affected him. But I say it would have happened anyway, because he had nothing to hold on to. Nothing. I gave him something. You may disagree with the astral science. You may, that's your right. But who else did Edward Porter any good when his son was killed in combat? Who else brought him any comfort for that horrible, horrible thing? I did. Only I. Maybe that's why he would sit for extra hours, waiting. Not just for a seance, for me. I had brought him happiness.
Mrs. Winters.
Come in, Mr. Porter. Oh, I've helped so many people today. So many. But that's my dedication. Anyone who needs help.
Maybe too many.
Why did you say that? Why too many? How could I possibly help too many?
Never mind. Let's begin.
You're acting unusual today, Mr. Porter. Is something wrong? I mean, is there a new problem I can help you with?
I said begin. No talk. Begin.
Oh, now see here, Mr. Porter, I offer my services. I give freely of my services to help others, but after all, that doesn't give license to you or anyone else. Well, even you. I mean, considering the amount of sessions we've had. I know, but it doesn't even give you a right to talk like that. Did you hear me, Mr. Porter? Mr. Porter.
I can't stand your spending so much time with others.
Well, it's my work.
Mrs. Winters, I want all your time.
That's quite impossible and quite expensive.
I can afford it. I must be with my son more.
We'd be pestered all day long by other clients, Mr. Porter. They'd keep coming
I
here.
know. I realize.
And McBain, my assistant, he's always been with me.
Bring him. Both of you. Live in my home. It's a huge house. Since my wife died years ago. But you know all that since she died. And
yes, I know.
Now, my son.
I know.
I need your help. You can bring my son to me. You must. You must.
Well, I would be failing mankind if I didn't. I would be failing my duty. Of course, Edward. Of course.
Autolite is bringing you Miss Agnes Moorehead with Joseph Kearns and Herb Butterfield in The Evil of Adelaide Winters. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Well, that's the old ball game. Congratulations, Stan.
Never could have managed it without that pitcher, Harlow.
You mean Ace McDougal?
No, my new Autolite Stay Full. That's the power pitcher for perfect starts. What a battery.
Oh, you visited your Autolite battery dealer, eh, Stan?
Yes, sir, and I found his name by calling Western Union and asking for Operator 25.
Well, you're set now because the Autolite Stay Full needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use. And what's more, it gives longer life, as proved by tests conducted according to accepted life cycle standards.
You can't beat that winning combination. No,
Right.
sir, Harlow.
Right you are. So, friends, see your nearest Autolite battery dealer soon. To quickly learn his address, call Western Union by number and ask for Operator 25. Without obligation, she will tell you where you can buy an Autolite Stay Full, the battery that proves you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Miss Agnes Moorehead in Elliot Lewis's production of The Evil of Adelaide Winters, a dramatic report well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Why should I think there was anything wrong in moving into Edward Porter's huge home? It was a beautiful new home for his son. But now his son was dead in the war, and I was bringing his son to him, making Edward Porter think the life his son had gone to was really a better life, a fuller life, a happier life. Maybe that should have been my warning. Maybe I should have known. But the money was so wonderful. The house was so beautiful. The money and house for a dead man's voice once a day. Only Robert McBain warned against it.
I just picked up the mail. There's a letter for you.
Me? A letter for me here?
War Department.
You opened it. You opened my mail.
It's addressed to Porter, but it's for you.
What was it? What did it say?
Yeah, read it yourself. Seems the government doesn't like mediums posing as the War Department.
Who could have told them about me?
Well, they don't mention any names.
But they say mediums have been contacting the parents of war casualties. I've done that. They must be me.
Well, what difference does it make? We've taken Porter for enough.
You shut up.
I'm warning you, Adelaide. I can see it. You can't. I can see his eyes when you walk past him. It's time to lay off, to get out.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Robert. You would like that. You'd like me to run, to leave all this. Well, I won't. Because I'm going to marry Edward Porter.
Oh, you can't. You wouldn't. Adelaide, I've worked for you. I've loved you. I've hung around because I loved you.
And you can still hang around, Robert.
No, not now. Not now. I won't.
Getting brave again, Robert? This is a comfortable life, just being a dead man's voice. Going to throw it over for love? I'm not marrying for love. Why should you throw all this away for love?
Did he ask you to marry him?
Speak up, Robert. I can't hear you.
I said, did he ask you to marry him?
No, but he will.
Oh, you're awfully sure of yourself about everything.
Of course he'll ask me. Because he must hold on to me. I'm the only person who can bring his son to him every day, like a clock, like a stopwatch, like a pistol shot.
Something's wrong with him. I'm warning you.
Yes, I can bring his son to him like a stopwatch, Robert. Even now, I say no one could have foreseen the events. I'm sure of that. As sure as I am that no one would have acted any differently than I did. As little by little I became the most important thing, the only thing in Edward Porter's life. The only thing beside a voice he worshipped. Yes, worshipped. Could any woman refuse such adoration? Such love?
John sounded happy, Adelaide.
What? What, Edward?
I said he sounded happy. Happier than I've ever heard him.
Yes, they are happy in that other world.
How wonderful to feel happy again. To feel hopeful.
Yes, to share your life with someone, yes.
To share it with you.
Edward.
John didn't say much today. That isn't like him. He's always talkative. I wonder if I've been saying the right things to him, Adelaide.
You speak of him as if he's like us.
Isn't he?
Well, of course. We're all one spirit. Of course he's like us. But we have a life on this world to live before the other one. We have so much to live for.
Can it compare to the other world beyond the grave?
Why, no, but we must wait our time. We cannot ignore this life. We are in it. We must live as best we can.
I don't know if I ever could without John. This was built for my son.
But you haven't lost him. Through me, you've regained John.
That's why all this is yours, Adelaide.
Well, I'm only a kind of employee.
Don't say that, oh.
I'm paid a salary.
You're not an employee.
Well, am I more?
Like a member of the family.
Like, but not actually. There's a great difference between like and actually.
You're the family. You and John and I.
You and I. John is a spirit now.
You and John and I, one family, one unit again.
I'm not your wife. You speak like I'm your wife. I'm not, Edward. Not at all.
You will be my wife. My dear, my wonderful wife.
Edward. Kind, sweet Edward. My husband, Edward.
I sense something odd. Here, now, with us.
No, Edward, no, darling.
Like we were with John. For the first time. As if we were with John.
No, Edward, it's not
like
that.
He wanted us to share our happiness with him. Like he wanted us to be with him.
I was terrified. I'd never seen it before, a reaction like his. Well, once, a woman, she just disappeared one day. She'd lost her husband and 2 children in an automobile accident, and I calmed her down in seances, talking to her dead family, making them seem real. Then one day she just disappeared and left a note. She said she was going to join them.
He's sick. He's dangerous, Adelaide.
You're trying to intimidate me.
He doesn't know what's real or not.
You're jealous again.
I'm trying to tell you how dangerous it is.
How dangerous, Robert?
I don't know exactly.
Will he turn me over to the police?
Well, there's more. Something more.
Will he demand his money back? The money he's paid me?
Oh, I don't know.
The money means nothing to him.
He's losing his reason.
What? How? Don't generalize. Be specific.
If you're as smart as you say you are, you ought to run.
Not until I have all of this.
You can walk out that front door. Now, with me.
I have to stay and get what I worked for. It's mine.
You're scared.
I won't leave. Not for anything. Not until I'm married to him.
You're really frightened. You're just putting on an act.
Nothing can make me leave. Nothing. Nothing.
You know I'm right. Please, please, Adelaide. You know.
You're a coward. You're a coward. Adelaide. I should have listened to Robert's warning. I should have. But how could I take the advice of a man I didn't respect? How? I couldn't even accept Robert's advice when Edward Porter canceled the seances for one entire day, even though he was with me every minute of those 24 hours. Even when he sat in a chair in my room while I slept, not speaking, just watching. Always watching. Even then, I couldn't admit Robert was right. I had to be right. I had always been right. Even though I barely slept, I was afraid to sleep, so terribly afraid. Even then, I couldn't admit Robert was right. That Edward Porter was past my control.
Adelaide. Adelaide.
I'm not asleep, Edward.
I thought you were. I've been watching you for hours.
And I've been watching you too, Edward. I couldn't sleep. So very strange.
Have I?
Like you didn't trust me.
Oh, but I do, my dear. My dear Adelaide. I trust you more than I've ever trusted any human being I've known.
Oh, what's wrong? What's bothering you?
How much does this mean to you?
Our marriage?
This house?
Nothing without you, Edward.
And my money?
Only something to share with you.
Nothing more?
Nothing. You're my life.
And you're mine. You and John. Both of you.
Why do you keep saying that?
What?
About John. John is dead, Edward. He's waiting, but he's not with us. Not really.
What does John mean to you?
A son? Your son and mine.
You love him as I love him?
I told you that. Edward.
Why do we have to wait?
Edward, I don't understand.
Why must we keep him waiting?
You can't be serious.
You said this world, this material world, meant nothing without me.
No, Edward. No, this is our world. This is the one we live in.
What is there to wait for? This is a place of evil and sin and corruption. You said so. You've shown me that.
Edward! Edward, that gun, put it away!
You've shown me the beautiful world that lies beyond the veil.
It was exaggerated. I mean, under strain and upset, things get distorted. We see what we want to. Don't you understand? It's not perfect beyond. It isn't.
Don't say that. You taught me faith. Don't lose faith now. Don't be afraid of leaving this world.
Well, it's the only world, the only one. There's no astral world beyond. None. It was a lie. I only wanted money and position. Oh, believe me, only money and position, and the rest was a lie.
John's voice a lie? John's voice? My own son's voice? I know his voice. In a crowd in eternity, I know his voice.
I'll show you it was a lie. Robert McVane, he's in his room. Come on, come to his room, Edward.
Come back here, Adelaide.
It's a lie, Robert, and he'll tell you. There's no life beyond. He'll tell, Robert, tell him that Robert, where are you? Oh, no. Oh, no, the coward, he left. It was a lie. There's no life beyond. There's no life beyond.
Don't be afraid.
Stop, Edward. Stop. You're insane.
John?
6 years it's been. Just lying here, not able to talk, to tell my side of it. But now it's out. Now you know. You judge. You judge whether I did harm.
Suspense. Presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Miss Agnes Moorehead.
And here she is again, First Lady of Suspense, Miss Moorehead.
Thank you, Harlow. First Lady of Suspense is a title I'll always cherish.
Agnes, I believe this was your 20th appearance as star of Suspense.
I guess you're right, Harlow. Right with Autolite. You see, I've been here so often I can do the commercials. But seriously, I thoroughly enjoy Suspense, and I'm looking forward to the next time.
Well, it'll be soon, Agnes, because you're an important part of the big Autolite family. A friendly family extending from coast to coast. In 28 plants, Autolite makes over 400 products for cars, trucks, planes, and boats. Complete electrical systems used as original factory equipment on many leading makes of our finest cars, trucks, and tractors. Autolite batteries, including the famous Autolite Stay Full. Ignition-engineered Autolite standard and resistor-type spark plugs. All backed by constant Autolite research and precision built to assure top performance. So remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
Next week on Suspense, our star will be Mr. Charles Lawton in another story based on actual events concerning a man historically famous as the most notorious poisoner who ever lived. A dramatic report we call Neil Cream, Doctor of Poison. In weeks to come, we shall also present Mr. Tony Curtis and Miss Jean Crane, all on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Elliot Lewis, with music composed by Lucian Morwick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The Evil of Adelaide Winters was written for Suspense by Arthur Ross. In tonight's story, Herb Butterfield was heard as Porter and Joseph Kearns as McBain.
Agnes Moorehead may be seen in the fall tour of the first drama quartet presentation of the dream sequence of Man and Superman.
And remember, next week on Suspense, Mr. Charles Lawton in another story based on actual events, a dramatic report we call Neil Cream, Doctor of Poison.
Phone Western Union by number and ask for Operator 25. There is no charge for this service. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
That's our Strange Tale for this week. You can find more from Suspense, past episodes of Strange Tales, and all the other podcasts at relicradio.com. Also access our Shoutcast stream from there. And donate if you'd like to help support this and all of the shows. Your support is how all of this is made possible each and every week. Just visit donate.relicradio.com if you're able to help, or click on the link on the website. Thank you, as always, to those who have, and thanks for joining me today. Talk to you again next Sunday with another episode of Relic Radio's Strange Tales.